But we begin tonight with Donald Trump, stumbling out of the gate in the first week of his second administration, making his top priority not the economy or the high cost of living, but rather issuing a blanket pardon to 1,500 participants in the January 6th insurrection. That includes pardoning hundreds of defendants who were convicted of violently attacking police officers who were protecting the Capitol during the assault. Defendants who were armed with firearms, stun guns, flagpoles, fire extinguishers, bike racks, batons, a metal whip, office furniture, pepper spray, bear spray, a tomahawk axe, a hatchet, a hockey stick, knuckle gloves, a baseball bat, a massive Trump billboard, Trump flags, a pitchfork, pieces of lumber, crutches, and even an explosive device. To perhaps no one's surprise, the decision by Trump is wildly unpopular. Polling shows that only 24% of Americans approve of pardoning all of the people convicted of crimes during the Capitol attack. And it's not just the American people who disapprove. Some of the federal judges who oversaw these cases are blasting Trump's decision. U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell writing in a scathing order, no process of national reconciliation can begin when sore losers whose preferred candidate loses an election are glorified for disrupting a constitutionally mandated proceeding in Congress and doing so with impunity. Adding, this court cannot let stand the revisionist myth relayed in this presidential pronouncement. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan also had some choice words for the decision, writing, no pardon can change the tragic truth of what happened on January 6, 2021. The dismissal of this case cannot undo the rampage that left multiple people dead, injured more than 140 people, and inflicted millions of dollars of damage. It cannot diminish the heroism of law enforcement officers who struggled, facing serious injury and even death, to control the mob that overwhelmed them. It cannot whitewash the blood, feces, and terror that the mob left in its wake, and it cannot repair the jagged breach in America's sacred tradition of peacefully transitioning power. And yet, Donald Trump is still doubling down, saying this in an interview last night with his friend Sean Hannity of Fox.
They were treated like the worst criminals in history. And you know what they were there for? They were protesting the vote because they knew the election was rigged and they were protesting the vote. And that you should be allowed to protest a vote. You should be allowed to. You know, when the day comes,
you shouldn't be able to invade the Capitol.
No, ready? Most of the people were absolutely innocent. Okay, but forgetting all about that, these people have served horribly a long time. It would be very, very cumbersome to go and look. You know how many people we're talking about? 1,500 people. Almost all of them should not have been. This should not have happened. And the other thing is this: some of those people with the police, true, but they were very minor incidents. Okay.
Joining me now is Michael Fanone, former D.C. Metro Police officer who was assaulted defending the Capitol during the January 6th insurrection. He's the author of the book Hold the Line. Also joining me is his mother, Terry Fanone, the dear and wonderful Terry Fanone, who I've not seen since the book party. So it is so good to see you. But I am going to start with you, Michael. Yeah. Your response to Donald Trump.
I mean, listen. I find it difficult to understand how Donald Trump could characterize what happened to me as a minor incident. To remind the American people who are not aware, I was pulled from the police line by Albuquerque Cosper Head. I was put in a headlock, dragged out into the mob. I was restrained. I was beaten. At one point, an individual, Kyle Young, lunged for my firearm, tried to remove it from my holster, all while individuals in the crowd were chanting, "Kill him with his gun." During that struggle, Daniel Rodriguez used a taser device on my neck numerous times. And while this was happening, Thomas Civic ripped my badge and my radio from my vest. As a result of this assault, I sustained traumatic brain injury as well as a heart attack. Donald Trump knows that these were not minor incidents. He doesn't care. This is part of his plan. The plan is to pardon those that committed crimes on his behalf because he knows that that will send a message to the citizens of this country. If you commit crimes on my behalf, I support you. If you stand up and speak the truth or try to prevent me from doing things that I want to do, then you know what's coming.
You just described something that is very clearly victimization by criminals. And yet the Department of Justice, now in the hands of Donald Trump, has said that you're not entitled, as you have to seek restraining orders. You could run into these people at Walmart. They could be anywhere. They are now out free to walk around, the same people who assaulted you, to try to get restraining orders. Please explain what you were told by the Justice Department about your entitlement to assistance by your government.
Yeah, so immediately after I was made aware of the fact that these individuals had been pardoned, I wanted to take any and all steps to protect myself and my family from further harassment or assault. So I went down to the Prince William County Courthouse in Virginia, which is in the district that I live, and tried to obtain protective orders from those individuals that had been criminally charged and pled guilty to assaulting me. There are 5 of them. I was told that the way that a protective order works is that once you've applied for it, you're granted a temporary order of protection, which lasts 2 weeks. Well, that doesn't do very much. In order for the protection order to take effect for a full 2 years, these individuals have to be served. Well, that requires me to know their home address. When I reached out to the Department of Justice, initially, I was told that they would provide me with that information. 9 o'clock this morning, I get a phone call, and I'm told that because the cases were pardoned, there is no longer any criminal charges, and I'm not entitled to that information, as I am no longer a victim, according to the Department of Justice.
You talked about getting protection, not just for yourself, but for your family, and that includes your mom. Terry, it is so good to see you. Ms. Fanone, you've been victimized now because of your son. The first time I met you, I have to tell everyone, I'm going to tell a little bit of the way that I met you at the book party.
Yes.
And what we talked about is how proud you were of your son. And how you told me about him in high school, being a bright guy, that always really smart. And he goes through the police academy. You're so proud. And then you see him actually be a hero during an insurrection. There it is. There's a picture of him coming out of the police academy.
Oh, yeah.
And first of all, how do you feel seeing your son go from this hero police officer to somebody who doesn't even have the support of police, and now being told he's not a victim at all?
Angry. And there are no words or limits to the level of anger I feel, not just for Michael, for each one of these police officers, and for each and every family member that went through this. Not only did they go through it, every family member has dealt with it every day since. The trauma that is always exacerbated when there's so much denial. And now it's not even a denial, it's a total dismissal. It didn't happen. It did not happen. And he's just been cut off from everything. And I think one thing I'll never get used to is when Michael and I are out to lunch or whatever we're doing, is that hypervigilance we both have. When someone comes up to him, are they going to spit on him or shake his hand?
Yeah.
And you never, ever get used to that.
And that should not even be a question, because he's a hero. Talk about what's happened to you, if you can. And I know this is painful to talk about, but you've been swatted. People have decided that you're someone, a hate object as well, not just your son. There was an incident with feces thrown at you. Can you please talk about that, if you can?
So it was about 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks ago. I'm out raking leaves in my side yard, and the side yard is there's a thoroughfare, a thorough street, a heavier traffic street, and I was kind of in the zone, just raking leaves and not noticing much, but I did notice a black pickup truck go back, and there's a school across the street. He turned around and came back. I didn't pay that much attention to him because I thought maybe he picked up his kids and he was coming back. But he got over into the other lane, into the curb next to my house, and threw it was a big brown bag. I didn't know what it was, but it missed me. It didn't hit me, but it landed right next to me, and I ran. I didn't know if it was a bomb.
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was, and I was terrified. I went back in the house and just waited. It didn't explode. It didn't do anything. When I went back out, I took the rake and poked at it. It didn't explode. So I waited till somebody else was around and tore it open.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.